fans.
Hello everybody, how are you? Again, we're here in Coffee with Soriano. Welcome and thank you for joining us today, Natalia and Philipe, and of course Marco.
These are our guests. We're very honored to have you both, and we hope to have a great, nice cup of coffee. If you're not having coffee right now, that's not a good start.
Okay.
Voila. Okay.
So I'm so excited to talk to you guys because we're gonna have a great conversation about etiquette and business. So this is a very, very nice topic today because work etiquette is that governs all the expectation of social behavior in our workspace. So what do you think, Natalia?
So I think that etiquette is one of the most important things in a communications because what information you perceive is about 80% of what people feel or see rather than what they hear. So intuitively, we base our decision based upon our intuition, our internal feelings, and you can say the best things in the whole world, but if your body language is opposite to it, or you presented yourself as rude and not well-mannered and not open, you're not going to be perceived in a positive way.
Right on.
Yes.
Right on. Philippe, what do you think? Diplomacy and etiquette in business these days. For some reason, I think people have forgotten.
Not only these days, but you have to take in account that the person you are talking to are human beings, and as such, they deserve respect. And our attitude, our general attitude, has to show these respect all time. And the way you dress, the way you speak, the way you behave, your body language are essential factors. And the problem is that etiquette is not just a unique thing; it's a conjunction of various things, such as the way you behave in the working environment, the way you drink and the way you eat, your professionalism, the way you communicate within the meetings, or also the protocol you have to follow in social events or when you write a speech. And so this theme is really wide, and the problem is that you don't have written rules. But if you use your common sense, usually you don't get wrong.
That's right. That's right. There's actually one of my favorite writers in Spain. His work has been translated. His last name is Rubino. I forget his first name, but he wrote a book on protocols in society, and it goes along the lines of people's behavior, protocols in institutions, the way things are aligned, and mannerisms. I think today's generation doesn't really have much of quite the right attitude towards it. I want to kind of dig into that because all of you are parents, and maybe you can tell me how you're managing such situations.
I can start. One thing that my oldest son is a freshman in high school, and one thing that I've noticed is actually a lack of respect with a lot of his classmates towards the teachers. And then when in the chat room in the social home studying environment, they'll say, "Hey," or why are you not doing that? And one thing I always told Nicholas is, okay, no matter what other kids do, you have to be yourself and you have to stand by what you believe. So always be presentable, respectful, always say Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, and address them in a very polite manner because this shows them respect. And by that, you show that you appreciate the work that you do. And that's the problem because a lot of teenagers these days, they don't appreciate the things that they have in life, about their relationships, the material things, non-material things. And they think that they are entitled to have a lot of stuff. But realistically, you're not entitled to have education. It's an order to have an education, and you should be very respectful to those who can provide it for you. So I think starting with the kids from the early age to teenage years and higher is very important to embed in them that with respect, you can get much further in life than by saying, okay, this is me, just I am the boss. So I think that's probably what my opinion is. Yes.
I remember from my upbringing that it only took one look from my dad for me to understand I was out of line, and I would immediately.
Yeah, I was raised by, besides my parents, I was raised by my great-grandmother, who went to the School of Noble Women by the court of the Tsar. I come from the oldest living family in Russia, and my manners, if I'm at the table, I had a book on my head, book here and here, and I had to sit like this since I was 5 years old with a fork and knife, not leaving the table until the food is done, all the etiquette, all the manners, and yes, if I don't behave, trust me, that would not be a good
That's
thing.
very interesting. How about if Philipe, Tatiana, I know you have kids too.
Yes, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Philippe, please.
Sorry. Well, I would say that being parents is probably one of the most difficult jobs in the world, and you don't. There is no school for that, and basically, education starts from the very beginning, and it's a continuous improvement, and you learn, and you make your children learn on a daily basis. And for example, now my son would like to apply to the Lausanne Hospitality School. Which is the first in the world and one of the most famous ones for them in the US. And an essential thing of this school is what they call the savoir-être and savoir-vivre. And if you are not used to that kind of rules, of non-written rules, and if you don't have the proper education, in that kind of world, you will be totally lost. And it is very essential for me and for my wife as well to teach our children how to behave properly in every situation and no matter who you are talking with.
Very well.
Exactly.
Excellent.
I think the education and the good behavior begin in our home with our families. So it's like something that you learn since you were very young kids. So that's what we like to invite you both to talk about this, because you grow up in a special family, and I wanted you to speak about your family, how your lifestyle is or was since the beginning of your childhood. Natalia.
Okay.
Natalia.
Well, I kind of started on that. Yeah, so having a great-grandma who was exiled to the concentration camps and spent pretty much most of her life until her granddaughter was born in exile, and then she came back and she raised my mom and her sister and then raised me and my cousins. The strength of this upbringing is probably the most valuable thing in the world, because there's always says there's no such a word as I don't want to. I can't is I don't want to. So that strength and upbringing is like no matter what you put your mind to, you can always achieve it. So so basically any laziness was out of the question in my family. And moving on that what I think helped me the most throughout my career is knowing that, the focus and knowing that no matter what, you can do it. Just put more time, put more faith in yourself, be respectful again, get people to be in your team rather than working against you, and you can really accomplish anything you want. So the bringing up and starting at very early age and being the example that you lead your children by is the most crucial way to bring them, because you can say anything, but realistically they follow what you do. They see what you do, how you behave, how you talk, and they copy you.
Exactly. That's very interesting. What about you, Philippe? Tell me about your family, how you grow up in a special family. Especially, because you're coming from a very Spanish family, and you have your father from Switzerland, so it's very international.
Yeah, it is international, and further than this, more than this.
We lost him for a bit.
Yes.
All right. Well, let him see when he comes back. We'll see what happens. I suppose I can talk about, the upbringing of my family being also international, having an Italian mom and a Spanish father, and then all this eclectic background, I guess it gave me always room to say that even though I'm an American, and having this eclectic background never gave me a sense of nationality per se. I feel like I'm a man of a world, and that always has given me access to learn other languages, to learn other cultures, to go to a country and adapt myself or become a chameleon into that society. And I think that's a key element of traveling, and also your upbringing, to be able to connect with people at that level.
Awesome.
Philipe, you're back. I don't know what happened. We had a little technical issue. So you were saying? Is he with us?
I think so, Philippe. Let me text him just to see. That's the live programs or shows dealing in those days. Are you hearing us, Philippe?
Is either that or we're too popular right this second that we have too many people that it's completely blowing
He just
up.
wrote in the chat that he has sound issues.
Yeah, he's having sound issues. In any case, let's touch base. Are you back?
He's back.
All right, well,
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but anyway.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais, Philippe?
Je sais pas, je peux pas le dire. Je sais pas ce qui s'est passé.
Alors, tu dis?
So I was asking about your family, your tradition in the education that you have. You grew up in an international family and a kind of royal family too. So this is interesting.
Royal family, not. Noble family, yes.
Oh no. Okay, sorry.
Not the same level. Just a level below.
You gotta marry the princess first, but we're done.
I've got my princess already. So I've got my princess. I'm perfectly happy with that.
Yeah.
I was saying I come from various backgrounds. My father coming from a very Protestant family, very strict, with a lot of austerity. My mother was with the Southern blood, you know, a lot of parties and fun and very outgoing person. So really various background, which gave me, many aspects. All these aspects made my personality, and but it always have been a very strict education in which you have to behave a way, even when you party, even when you are with friends, you have to keep the behavior, I would say, in the lines. And
very sweet, man. He's very sweet.
And but that is how I grew up. And the education I received, as I said, was really strict. And my parents, even if they are at old age, remains very strict with me. Even if I am 47 years old now, they keep the same pattern.
Yeah, you still get the. It doesn't change.
But I like that. I accept that, and I have to say that I am thankful for what for the education they gave me, and, which allows me to basically go everywhere.
That's very nice. See, I go home to visit my mom. And if I go out, she still will give me the finger, be like, if you don't come back at a certain time, I'm going to call your wife. I'm like, what? So it's kind of nice to have that.
I want to say in the etiquette code, Marco, we have no point with your finger. You have to show the people like that and explain everything with your hands, not with your fingers. So
when the finger comes out, that's it's bad.
So, like that,
this is bad.
Not you, it's like,
let's continue to talk after the commercial break about your life, what kind of job do you have, guys, and let me explain you. I share a screen with you right now. with this beautiful motorcycle. Remember, you can pre-order the EV Soriano motorcycle today. It will change your life completely. Go to Soriano IU and see our models to choose from and the relevant information.
We're bringing it back, Philipe. We're bringing it back.
You can choose color, rims, colors right here in the website. It's very interesting. And go to Soriano.eu. So, engineering since 1920 and today. Here you can see the motorcycle before, and this one, electronic one, is beautiful. And today you can ride the future with Soriano Motor. So let's get a commercial break, but we'll be back in a few minutes before having coffee with Soriano in CafeClub Radio.
Thank you.
So guys, Marco, we wanted to know our guest today. So can you explain me a little bit about your bio, Philipe, please?
Tell us about your background. Introduce yourselves.
Okay, good. So I live in Switzerland, as was mentioned before, in Lausanne, and I studied economics in London. Then I worked as financial analyst for several banks in Geneva, and while performing also an MBA. And then I moved to the transportation industry. That was approximately 7 years ago. And now I work as head of the integration process for a transportation company, and especially the integration for Switzerland and Austria, and a little bit of Germany as well.
No, very interesting. What about you, Natalia?
Since I was born in Russia, my father and his identical twin were close to the government, and they were able to create some wealth in the very early 90s. So in 93, I went to University of Maryland to study in the United States with the plan to go to Moscow after I graduate. But after I graduated, I had no intention of going back and work with my father. So my father, by the way, lives in Switzerland. And his uncle is in Germany, so it's European-based family office as well. But I wanted to choose my own life, so after graduating magna cum laude, I went into finance, but unfortunately I couldn't get a work visa working in finance because they really don't care about your achievements. If nobody can qualify from American, you can't qualify for a green card. So I ended up getting my green card through modeling. So I did about 7 years of modeling, and parallel to that, I had a career in finance, primarily online marketing in my 20s. Then I moved to New York City, and for about 10 years, I focused on working with public and private companies on helping them to reach a specific level, primarily actually in the mining and oil and gas space, since it's kind of where my family is. I followed a little bit of footsteps. And about 2 years ago, with everything going on...
You must be not liking me that I'm doing electric vehicles now.
I do.
All right.
I've actually switched to technology, I would say, about 5-6 years ago, including blockchain, different interesting technologies that will help to be disrupting in the world. And the last 2 years ago, I'm quite heavily involved in the gaming space, partially because of my kid became a gamer, and I wanted to figure out how I can speak his language, because I'm not a gamer and I don't understand gaming. So I decided to kind of make it my life. So about 2 years ago, I got involved in the network, 24-hour digital network for lifestyle and culture of gaming. And through that, the founder of that network and myself, so there was a huge need to address gamers' health and wellness aspects of life, and nobody else is doing it. So we are working right now on the platform that will utilize, giving the products for gamers they need, education, from a doctor's perspective, a chiropractic, and then we're going to create into more SaaS platform that would include job match, gamification of the websites, basically a place to go for gamers, the whole lifestyle brand and the platform for gaming.
Smart. That's extremely smart. So you're targeting the next generation of consumers.
Yeah.
Right where they need.
And considering with COVID, the gaming, according to Verizon, has increased for 70% increase in gaming in the last 2 months. So I think it's a pretty good space to be in. And our company is Skins with the Z.gg, because, we use skins in the game, and plus skin is what you apply the products to. And GG is it's something URL that gamers are using. It stands for good game.
Very good.
That's what I'm doing.
You've been very busy those days, no? Because everybody at home and playing all the time.
Oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever been busier than I'm right now. So between the homeschooling and work.
Isn't that strange? I mean, most people that are working from home tend to be, from the banking perspective, and in our case, the team has been more productive during this time than they have ever been in the past. And
there's a lot of distractions. Got to focus. I mean, my 6-year-old requires a lot of time for the homeschooling and teaching him how to read and write in both languages. Mm-hmm. But other than that, because you can sit and focus on your work.
That's right.
You're
working from home. Philipe, are you working at home too? Or are you going back to the office now?
No, I'm working from home, and we've been asked to continue working from home for at least until the beginning of June, but probably a little bit later on.
Uh-huh.
And since March 13, I'm working from home. Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's quite. I would say things are really different. You have to reorganize your whole life. You're not commuting anymore. You have some distractions at home. For example, usually we don't see our son that much because he's in Spain. He studies in Spain, and so he had to come back because his school closed. And of course, having him at home with our daughter brings a lot of distractions. And you have to get focused on your job, and sometimes it becomes difficult. You have to demonstrate a little bit more flexibility within your time frame in order to adapt everything. And it was, I wouldn't say it was difficult, but it was somehow something a new learning path.
Yeah, I see the same thing happening here. I mean, we have 3 little ones, and I try to coordinate with my wife now, who I happen to hire in my family office now, so that we can run the business together from home. When a lot of friends would be like, "That's crazy that you're doing that, mate." So, well, you know what? Keep it in the family.
It's not crazy, but
it's just
you have to be with family.
It's a family business, right? So I try to maintain the legacy. I try to maintain the name, and I work with my siblings too. But the lawyers, when you deal with lawyers, will always tell you, "What are you doing? What you shouldn't be doing that," and so on. But it has been great. It has really been great, and having more time with my children at home has, I think, allowed me to connect with them even further, because before I was either traveling for months or I was in the office all day long, so I never got a chance to really see the kids as much as I do now. So I'm kind of grateful for that time.
Sometimes I'm worried about how the etiquette can be at the same level during these times at home, because we are more relaxed. And when we talk with working people or with our colleagues or people from the jobs, or if we have an interview or something, it's different, no? Since we are home. So what do you feel about those times and continue to have the etiquette rules as in the office?
What are you guys doing? I tell you, listen, in the most recent report that I was reading, the bank analyzes that the most solitary sports or activities are the ones that are going higher and actually coming back to normal. where the normalization period would be you go out and about in places where you will gather yourself to socialize. By norm, by law, today you can have groups of 10 people at the most, right? I know in Spain they started measuring the distances between the tables at the restaurants in case you go out, but the question always remains, are people really going to listen to that? Because that's just a norm. Or is it just another way of government control? I don't know. It's really skeptical, and I guess it's going to be a trial and error for some time until we figure that out. Natalia, what do you think in LA?
Well, in LA, restaurants are still closed, but they opened the beaches, and I took the kids to the beach yesterday, and there's a lot of people on the beach. There's not much social distancing there. I mean, we try to keep the distance, but obviously people are not wearing masks. And the beaches are open for walking, swimming, surfing only, so you cannot sit and you have to wear a mask. Obviously, nobody's doing that.
Wow, all right.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. The trial and error. This is a process of adaptation and normalization, and people are just not just yet there.
Yeah.
And what about you, Philipe? What activities are you doing? Other than walking room to room.
Yeah, working room to room, but I mean, now here the situation is a little bit more relaxed than it used to be, and probably a little bit more relaxed also than it is now in the US, because restaurants reopened 2 weeks ago, schools also reopened 2 weeks ago, and well, in the restaurant, actually they are indeed measuring the distance between tables.
Yeah.
You have to keep 2 meters, so a little bit more than 6 foot distance, and you have to keep that social distancing. So the F&B lobby is currently speaking with the government, with the federal government, to have that limit reduced to 1 meter, as it is, for example, in Austria or in Germany, because they don't have the same rule as we have here. And,
okay.
But well, the situation is quite improving, and people start to get out again. You see that there is a little bit more traffic on the road than we had 3 weeks ago. I mean, 3 weeks ago, I went one day to my parents traveling to Geneva, so not 50 kilometers far from here.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there was literally nobody. I mean, it was the highway were empty. And now you see that people really, I would say, it's kind of
you're gonna rush hour at all times now.
No, but I mean, the world is starting again. The world is starting again.
Yeah.
So it's nice, and apart from this, I mean, within this time, I think here in Switzerland everybody had the same idea. We cooked bread and made cakes. That was our main activity. I assure you that when we were confined home, it was our main hobby. It was our main activity.
To make cakes. All right. You owe me a cake when I see you. My daughter Audrey makes amazing Tyrolean cake. I mean, it's a nightmare for me because I did put on weight. It's a nightmare for me. But I assure you, they are delicious. That's excellent. Excellent. The next time I come to Luzon, I'll let you know.
So here in Florida is full of cars, traffic all over the highway, Brickell full of people, everybody's working, and I'm kind of scared. The other day I went to, have food in a restaurant to take out the food, and I was like shaking. I don't know. I was feeling something strange because I have been inside my home since 2 months.
You're like back from the cave, and then you.
Yes, I was like this. Something strange I feel because I went out during the night. So I want to be like safe. I use my mask, of course, but I worry about the shaking hands with another person. What do you think? This is a very trustful movement that you're going to do with another people to close a deal or say,
We have to do like they do in Asia. Just bow. No shaking hands, but you know what? I go out about, you're tempted to reach out because you have been doing it your whole life, and then you kind of stop and then like, oh no, why, we can't do that, and you will say that to each other, oh, we can't do that anymore. You know, but when it comes to my family, when they come here to the house, I mean, we still hug and kiss, and we haven't stopped doing that.
Yeah, but it's an etiquette code. It's very strong. So, what do you think, Natalia?
I want to actually step a little bit because I think one thing I'm doing to feel myself a little bit more safer. There's actually been a lot of studies now. If you take cortisone, zinc, vitamin C, and NAC, it really does strengthen your immune system, specifically for COVID. And I think that they should spread the word about it in a lot more efficient way to protect people, and probably even more efficient than wearing a mask if you daily take those 4 supplements. So I make sure I take them. I do wear a mask when I go outside. Obviously, if I'm on the beach, I didn't. I think that when I go to the grocery shop with the gloves on, because I don't know where things were, but I think people are getting really tired of social distancing, and I see a lot of people breaking the rules already and gathering. And like first 2 months, it was very quiet where I'm at. Right now, I can see this house have a party, that house have a party, so it's definitely breaking that atmosphere. And the question is like, how do we get back to the normal life? You know, because especially with airline industries, for them to keep the social distancing in economy class, how much the price of the tickets are going to be, and how many people actually can afford it to start flying around, because I don't think corporation will be sending many of their employees so the tickets go 5 times higher as much, as well as that thing. So I think it's still going to be a lot of effects in the business community, in the world business, and I don't think we even know how it's going to play out and how it's going to really affect the world economy still.
Well, we'll see. You know, the oil prices did fall, so that allows the airlines a bit of a better margin. And in some cases, the governments did allocate stimulus packages. So if they raise the prices too much, too high, it wouldn't be a smart strategic move.
Yeah, well, now the prices are cheap, but how long they can maintain that, right?
Well, we'll see. But the last time that I remember the last time that I flew, everybody was cleaning their seats, so definitely cleaner than
I
ever.
did, yeah.
Philipe can explain us a little bit more about the transportation. I know you're not in the transportation business as a tourist, and but what do you think?
Well, it depends which transportation company you're speaking, because you've got 2 types of transportation companies. You've got the transportation companies that work with a business model that we could call business to customers, and these companies had a huge increase in volumes over the last month because of the internet business. And you've got all the companies that work on the business to business, and these one had a tremendous drop in volumes. And so there is no just one pattern and one model in the transportation company, especially for freight companies. And I mean, it will be somehow difficult to recover for the business to business companies. So
so the cargo transportation companies right now are extremely important for everybody who's got. I keep on getting packages every day. I'm at home. You know, that has a stop.
I'm getting crazy about that. I'm getting crazy about that because I think my husband is crazy about buying online and receive packages every day. So it's another syndrome that we can have after.
You're blaming your husband for shopping? I don't believe it. But okay.
For everybody, let me show you another good screenshot. And Marco, can you tell me about the hotels, please?
So in the U.S., we run a fund that owns about 23 different hotels throughout the United States. We're always have been buying iconic buildings in highly populated cities. And the reason that we do that is because in any time of downturn in the economy, the first thing that you're going to get access to implement volume would be in a urban area, right? In a city populated here. So we own like the Queen Mary, which is a very iconic ship in Los Angeles. I'm sure, Natalia, you've seen it.
Yes, for sure.
The Wagner used to be the Ritz-Carlton of New York City. We bought it and we changed the name because the Ritz-Carlton name was too expensive. So we adopted the neighborhood, and we have been in acquisition mode since the last crisis. And now that we have another one, we just reset ourselves to buy more hotels that are in distress in the United States, especially. So you guys want to visit us in any of our hotels, just give me a shout. I'll be happy to host you.
Well, let's go to commercial break and we'll be right back in a few minutes.